healthcare right now, Eddie. We are doing some amazing things all around the purpose of driving impact and transforming the healthcare system that we are all in today. We've heard lots of layoffs that are occurring, certainly in Silicon Valley with many of our technology partners and companies. But the most important message that I think you and I want to deliver today is we're very much hiring in the healthcare sector. And there is tremendous digital transformation, technology innovation that is occurring to create a healthcare system, which is our mission here at Blue Shield of California, that is worthy of our family and friends.
Awesome. Thanks, Lisa. When I came on board to Blue Shield about 3 years ago, you actually said a couple things that really excited me and pushed me over the edge to make the decision to come to Blue Shield. You talked a lot about how the healthcare industry is antiquated when it comes to technology and leveraging data. So maybe you can speak a little bit about what are we doing to digitize the healthcare industry and how does that translate to new roles and opportunities at Blue Shield of California?
Yeah, well, I'm glad what I said actually got you over the edge because one of the greatest hires that I've made on this leadership team, and as you know, Eddie, and you're a member of that, we have a tremendous leadership team from all very diverse backgrounds and experience in different sectors other than healthcare that have come to help transform the system. So here at Blue Shield of California, and frankly, one of the lessons or silver linings, if there was any, that came out of the pandemic was the need for digital transformation in healthcare. And that was because lives were at stake. Having the data that was needed was many times a matter of life and death for our providers and our hospital systems. So that was a tremendous learning from the pandemic in the healthcare sector. It also had us recognize that the need for real-time information sharing and interoperability, ultimately creating this integrated patient health record. So can you imagine a system, Eddie, where you can share your health record with your providers that you see, your payer, and you have all that information readily available that ultimately helps you make better health decisions? That is what we're creating here at Blue Shield of California. So we're absolutely modernizing our capabilities. We're moving to the cloud. You can talk and share with folks what we're doing on the security foundational point around multi-factor authentication and identity and access management. We're using artificial intelligence. We're partnering with technology companies such as Google and Microsoft and Salesforce and many other key partners about leveraging their talent, their scale, and their technical capabilities to help us accelerate how we transform the healthcare system.
Yeah, so exciting to hear you talk about it always. I think one of the simple ways it's been described to me is that we're really working to kind of create an Uber-like experience in the healthcare industry where you can understand what doctor you can see, when you can see them, how much it's going to cost, what it means to you, what's your history like, what's your health like within the application. I think there's some really amazing things that I've seen around in the future. Imagine an application that can give you recommendations around how to improve your health because it knows everything about you. It knows
That's
your health
right.
history, it knows your doctors, it knows how you eat, what you weigh, what your activities are. So imagine one day when things are interconnected in the United States in regards to all the healthcare information that's out there. So that's super exciting to me. You did mention the work we're doing around identity and access management. So I'm going to spend a moment just talking about that.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful work. And at the, even though it's tremendous innovative work around identity and access management, really the outcome of that, that Eddie, I hope you'll talk about, is the experience that our members have, the differentiated experience because of the capabilities that you put in place.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Lisa. I think the simple version of this is that in the healthcare industry, most people aren't seen as human. They're seen as a social security number, they're seen as a policy number. And then you start to interact and integrate into other types of technologies. So think you're logging into your pharmacy, you're seen as an email and or a policy number. You're integrating with a health app. You're seen as a user account. So if you think about in the world of healthcare, if we're ever going to be interconnected, we have to connect around a human, around an identity. And so a lot of the work we're doing is changing the data models and the integration models with our business partners to focus in on the human side first, meaning I have to understand it's Lisa Davis that we're servicing, and then wrapping our services around her as an individual. So it's one simple user experience, one simple login, for instance, that makes a huge difference. Otherwise, there's huge security concerns because we've been so distributed in how we link data to people, right? Once again, we've done it as a social, as a policy number, as an email address, but never really as a human being. And so that from a security standpoint is great because one, if we can connect it all to a human, we make access and management of that access simple. But two, we actually make the experience that, let's say, Lisa has even better. We found it to be something that's a huge differentiator. So when you think about data modeling, Lisa, how does that translate to jobs that people may be interested in when they're looking at Blue Shield of California as a career opportunity?
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that real example, Eddie, around identity and access management. I mean, really, data is at the heart of our strategy, and frankly, I think most companies today, even though I know we do healthcare, we're a technology and data company, and that's how we're going to deliver that differentiated experience for our members and providers. So data is at the heart of everything we're doing and the insights that we can derive out of that data. So we're looking for folks, frankly, let's kind of go back because the reason I think you and I came to Blue Shield of California was first and foremost about the incredible mission we
Mm,
have here and being really centered around the mission and wanting to have an impact in terms of the work that we're doing. And I'll just speak for myself. I mean, I've had the opportunity and experience to work in four different sectors. I spent 26 years in the Department of Defense. I spent 3 years in academia. I spent 5.5 years in high tech. And then I chose to come to healthcare to be here at Blue Shield of California. And the reason I chose it is because healthcare is personal.
mm,
Healthcare is personal. And Eddie, you and I have talked about this. Everyone can relate to what it means to have quality care that is worthy of our family and friends. And that is the mission here at Blue Shield of California. And we know that the healthcare system as it stands today does not meet those needs. So we are on a mission to transform it and make it better. And it starts here with us at Blue Shield of California and with all the partners that we're currently work with. So very mission focused in terms of the work that we do every day. And it's a mission that is relatable to all of us. So the first thing that I would say to folks is if you want to have an impact on the world, if you want to have an impact on one of the most important sectors, and by golly, we learned that after just coming out the other end of this global pandemic.
yeah,
That's why I started the conversation saying, hey, I don't think there's a more important sector to be working in to bring your technology talent and passion and enthusiasm for what you do as a technologist, whether you're a data scientist, a data engineer, a data architect, a cloud architect, a security professional, Eddie, this is the place to do it. And we would love to have you on the team.
that is fantastic. Sign me up again, Lisa.
All right. So you're already signed up. You're already signed up. You already came on board.
That was so interesting. I think the thing that tipped me over the edge was having this exact conversation with you and then hearing these words. Eddie, if you didn't come to Blue Shield and Blue Shield in 5 or 10 years had completely transformed the healthcare industry and you weren't involved with that, how would that make you feel? And I thought, well, there's no way that's going to happen without me. So sign me up.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
Exactly. And
you mentioned a bunch of roles, like you just listed
yeah,
off a couple roles that
yeah,
are of interest for Blue Shield of California, but I wanted to get a little more tactical with you. Maybe we can
Okay.
talk about like what exactly are the types of skills that we're looking for, and why are we looking for those skills now?
Yeah. Well, first off, I would say bring your passion, bring your mission focus. If you're looking for a company that has that, let's start with that. Now, when we talk about technology skills, um, as we modernize our infrastructure environment, move to infrastructure as a service, we're moving to the cloud, we'll be fully all in on cloud technologies over the next 3 years. So that is in the works, as you know, Eddie. We're moving all of our data to the cloud, right? And creating what we call an experience cube in the cloud. And that experience cube is creating that differentiated experience for our members and providers to be able to share data between all three entities. We know that it reduces the cost of healthcare. We know that when people are involved in their health, we get a better health outcome. And we can create that holistic, personalized, high tech, high touch experience. And you mentioned something before I wanted to go back on about this Uber like experience. Isn't it interesting that if we think about how we use apps today, like Uber, or how we do banking and
Mhm.
financial services, consumers demand that experience. Well, now this is what's happening in healthcare.
Yeah.
They're demanding, they have expectations as to what they want their healthcare experience to be. So, getting really tactical in terms of the skill sets we're looking for. Um, any of those skill sets that I mentioned, experience and knowledge working in cloud technologies, experience and knowledge working around your field, your organization, Eddie, around cybersecurity, information security, audit and compliance, um, governance, skills around data, data modeling, data architecting, data engineering, advanced analytics and artificial intelligence, deriving insights out of the data that we have. All of those are relevant and marketable skills that we are hiring for today.
That's great. You know, I personally have some friends that have been impacted by some of the big tech layoffs here in Silicon Valley, and we've been working on bringing them over to Blue Shield of California. They're super excited about the mission, Lisa, and the skills that they bring are very, cutting edge, technological, cloud based, automation based, code based kind of security capabilities. And it's exciting for us. One of the other things they found to be really exciting was the have here at Blue Shield of California. And I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about your kind of guiding principles around work-life balance and what that means to you and what it means to Blue Shield of California.
Yeah, I'm a huge, as you know, Eddie. First, I'm a health and wellness nut, so I'm a huge advocate around what does it mean to have work, lifestyle, and balance. And um, first of all, if one of the things that Blue Shield of California I think does it incredibly well is it really shows first and foremost we care about you as a human being and we care about the health and the safety of you and your family. And that was demonstrated first and foremost during the entire pandemic. We also recognize that performance is really tied to how our employees feel about working for this company and the work that they are doing. So, tying that work to mission and in a balanced way that allows you to, one, be your authentic self
Yeah.
in terms of all of our work around diversity and inclusion and that continued work there, bring your authentic self. Um, Making sure that you're taking care of yourself. One of the things that our CEO always says, and then I've adopted, and we use this during the pandemic, said this quite often, is first, we want to make sure you're taking care of you. Then we want to make sure you're taking care of your family. and then what you can give back to the mission of Blue Shield of California. And I think that really sums up how we think about work-life balance and the work that we do here each and every day.
That is fantastic. You know, that you mentioned diversity, equity, and inclusion. You and I both sit on Blue Shield of California's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. We're very involved in our employee resource group community. Lisa is the executive sponsor for our Operations Veterans Group. I'm the executive sponsor for our Hispanic network. We call it Unidos. Um, so, with that said, I'd love to hear your thoughts, Lisa, around how Blue Shield, what's their stance on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and what are they doing to be more like the communities that they serve today?
Yeah, I mean, it's the core of who we are, standing up for what's right, representing the communities, promoting health equity across the state of California. So it's very much the core of who we are. I had the pleasure over the last 2 years of serving as the executive sponsor of our women's network, and now just recently transferred. I'm super psyched to be the executive sponsor, as you said, for Operation Veterans Group. One of the things I loved about coming to healthcare, and I worked in, as I mentioned, those four sectors where many times, Eddie, I was the only woman in the room for many of those conversations being in technology. And one of the things I love about Blue Shield of California is they put their actions where their words are. So, first off, the fact that we have equal pay. Equal pay between all men and women here at Blue Shield of California. We have 50% diversity
Yeah.
in the executive ranks. We have a female board chairman. We have at least 50%, if not more, diversity in our board of directors. We've been nominated as a top 100 places to work the last couple years. These are, I think, the core as to why we stand up for what's right. We do what's right by people, and we take our words and we put them into actions.
That is great. You know, the other thing I really enjoy about working at Blue Shield of California is its focus on community service. So not only are we, you know, ensuring that we're putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, building out a diverse employee pool, diverse leadership pool, we're constantly looking at how do we best serve our communities. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, Lisa, and then how does that interconnect with the IT organization and your aspirations for us to do community service for California?
Yeah, well, it's a goal, Eddie, as you know, for our entire company that we have um, 70% participation across the company in investing back in our communities. And just to let folks know, as a nonprofit, we cap our profits so that we're investing those funding back into the communities in which we serve and in which we live. And that is being a member of Blue Shield of California, that we actually live in the communities. We work side by the communities that we represent. So in the IT organization, we very much look at opportunities from charitable donations to getting involved in communities. One of the big ones we did in 22 was the world's largest pet walking in terms of raising money. We raise money for our veterans communities. There is such a culture of giving and giving back to the communities at which we serve. And these are even national charities and so forth, that it really represents who we are as being employees of Blue Shield of California.
That is great. We are constantly excited about the competitive nature of servicing our communities, um, not only from an IT to the rest of Blue Shield standpoint, but within IT, there's some fun competition around how do we best serve our communities and who's doing the most to do so. So love that. Hey, let's wrap this up, Lisa. If you had any parting words for our guests, what would that be?
Yeah, Eddie, it's been a fun conversation. I think my parting words would be hey, when one door closes, another window opens. And healthcare is an incredible, exciting sector. Digital transformation is now at the forefront. We're leveraging innovation. We're partnering with some of the biggest tech partners and health partners to ultimately transform the healthcare system and to create that differentiated experience that, frankly, our members are asking for, are demanding like they do in many other sectors. So, if you want to have an impact, if you want to come and join a team that is really driving this change in the industry, then please check out our opportunities at Blue Shield of California on our webpage. All of our IT and technical jobs are listed. Send me a note on LinkedIn, send Eddie a note on LinkedIn. We're happy to answer any questions that you have, and we would be super excited to have you on our team.
That is great. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't say something about our information security team. I think we have a world-class organization. We are steep in the fight against the bad guys in regards to their focus on the healthcare industry. So if you're looking for a mission-based organization, you have cyber skill and cyber talent, please reach out, take a look at our website. You can visit blueshieldta.com//career to look at the jobs that are available. If you want to speak to a career advisor, they're on right now, so please feel free to reach out to them. And just know we have a great team and a great mission. We're aligning our workforce with the future strategies and visions that we talked about today. And if you are at all interested, once again, reach out to a career advisor, visit our websites, reach out to Lisa and I on LinkedIn. We're happy to communicate and connect with you. Thank you all. Great chatting with you.
Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, everyone. Great chatting as always.
All right. Bye-bye.